Sarah had always believed in love. At 52, she thought she still had time to find someone who would care for her, who would see beyond the wrinkles and graying hair. So, after months of hesitation, she finally signed up for a matchmaking service, hoping to meet someone special. She filled out the lengthy questionnaire with care, describing herself as best as she could, honestly, warmly, and with a touch of hope. When the letter finally arrived, Sarah's hands shook as she tore open the envelope. She had been dreaming of this moment, but the reality was harsh. The letter read, "Dear Ms. Sarah Thompson, thank you for your interest in our services. After careful consideration, we regret to inform you that we cannot proceed with your application due to the age limitations set by our clients. We wish you the best in your search for happiness." Sarah felt a cold wave of rejection wash over her. The sting of those words cut deep, not because she hadn't anticipated it but because it was a reminder of the society's shallow values. She was too old, they said. Her value was determined by a number, her age, rather than her kindness, wisdom, or the life she still had left to live. For days, she wallowed in silence. Her apartment became a prison of loneliness, her world shrinking to the hum of the TV and the pages of books she read to escape her feelings. Her friends, many of whom were married, seemed to live in a different world. She often felt invisible, as if she no longer mattered in the eyes of the world. Every now and then, she would venture onto dating websites, but the experience was always the same, her profile was met with silence. It was as though the world had moved on without her. Too old, she would mutter to herself and close the app, each rejection cutting deeper. One Saturday morning, after weeks of isolation, Sarah decided to step out and visit the local farmer's market. It had been a long time since she'd done something for herself, something simple yet comforting. She wandered through the stalls, picking out fresh vegetables, her hands busy as she tried to shake off the sadness that had settled in her heart. That was when she heard a voice. "Excuse me, ma'am. I couldn't help but notice your knitting. My grandmother used to knit just like that." Sarah looked up, startled, and met the gaze of a man in his late 50s. His smile was kind, his eyes warm and sincere. She had no idea who he was, but there was something about him that made her feel seen, something she hadn't felt in a long time. "I'm sorry," he continued, "I didn't mean to interrupt, I just thought it was lovely." Sarah smiled, surprised by the warmth in his voice. "It's okay. I just like to keep my hands busy." The man's name was Paul. He had been a teacher for many years, and after losing his wife a few years ago, he had been navigating life alone. He came to the market every week to buy fresh produce and reminisce about the times he had shared with his wife. As they talked, Sarah couldn't help but feel a connection to him. His story of love, loss, and loneliness mirrored her own in some ways. The next few weeks saw Sarah and Paul meet at the market again and again. Their conversations grew longer, more personal. They shared stories of their pasts, their hopes, their regrets. For the first time in ages, Sarah found herself laughing, really laughing, at jokes she hadn't heard in years. Paul was kind, patient, and unhurried. He listened to her as if she mattered, as though her experiences, her thoughts, her dreams were important. One afternoon, after they had shared a quiet walk through the park, Paul turned to Sarah and said, "You know, I've never really believed in second chances when it comes to love, but with you, I'm starting to think that maybe I was wrong." Sarah's heart fluttered. Could it be? Could someone actually love her, despite her age, despite the years that had passed since she had last felt loved? "I never thought someone like you would ever be interested in me," Sarah confessed, her voice trembling slightly. "I feel like the world has forgotten about people like me, people who are, well, older." Paul gently took her hand in his. "Sarah, love isn't about age. It's not about how many years you've lived, but about how you've lived them. It's about the kindness in your heart, the way you care for others, the way you look at life with such grace. That's what makes you beautiful, not your age." Sarah felt a lump in her throat, the sting of years of rejection and invisibility slowly fading into something far more profound. For the first time in a long while, she felt truly seen. Paul had shown her that love wasn't reserved for the young or the perfect. It was something deeper, something more enduring. As they continued to meet, their bond grew stronger. They traveled to nearby towns, enjoyed long dinners, and shared quiet moments together. They found joy in the simplest things, reading books together, cooking meals, walking in the rain. Sarah realized that love wasn't about waiting for the right time or meeting someone's expectations. It was about finding someone who accepted you, just as you are, and building a life together, one moment at a time. Sarah had found in Paul not just a companion, but a reminder that love can come at any age. It doesn't come with a set of rules or expectations, it comes with patience, understanding, and the willingness to open your heart. Paul's presence in her life was proof that love doesn't have an expiration date, and neither did Sarah's worth. One evening, as they sat on a park bench, watching the sunset, Paul turned to her and said, "I never thought I'd find someone who makes me feel this way again. I'm so grateful for you, Sarah." Sarah squeezed his hand, her heart full. "And I'm grateful for you, Paul. You've shown me that love is still possible, no matter how old we are." In that moment, Sarah realized that the rejection she had once feared had been nothing more than a stepping stone. It had led her to Paul, to a love she never expected, but one that was more beautiful than she could have ever imagined.